All right, we live again. We missed out on yesterday. We normally do it on Sundays. Me and Max get live and talk about politics, a little bit of sports. I like that background, Max. Man, I'm a big Jordan fan, but uh, yeah, you nailed it a little bit. He was the man in them days, man. So yeah, we back again with another video. We're gonna go over Fannie Willis, Trump, some environmental news, some fun stuff. Max, go ahead. Want to go ahead and break us in?
Let's go. Let's
You
go.
ready?
Rob says he's got some surprises that I am unaware of. And by surprises, there's been some new developments, we'll call them. I'll say developments that have been posted on video. And I haven't watched any of the videos yet, so I'm not exactly sure about what was said, what was shown,
Uh,
who broadcasted, etc. So it's all new to me right now.
it's new to
The
you, right?
latest that I have been caught up on from what I've been watching was the dismissal, if you will, of the prosecutor, Mr. Wade.
Mm-hmm.
So right
How did you
now
take that? Right. How
we've
did you
got.
take that? Hearing that information,
Oh, sorry, yeah, I didn't catch that, Rob.
you didn't catch me. I said, how did you take that when you first heard that information? And he was like, well, I guess it wasn't the dismissal of Wade. We could say that, but he gave her an ultimatum. It was either her or Wade, right?
That's.
And how did you take that? What did that, what did you think about that?
I think it goes to just being able to try to, you're involving politics in this, so you're trying to not lose too much face. You're going to lose face one way or the other. It's just about how much flesh you're willing to sacrifice, if you will. And in this case, he made a sacrifice for both sides, but it really didn't benefit the one side. It really only benefit one side, though you would think of it just by looking at the scenario that, it's either going to be Wade or it's going to be Willis. You guys decide which one stays on the case. But
Right.
ultimately, that didn't do anything in effect of the case itself because the case still exists.
It definitely still exists. It definitely still exists. Uh,
And
yeah.
if if I, I, I wish things were a lot more transparent with a lot less of the red tape and the bureaucracy that we have to sit here and try to sift through at our own expense, I might add.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
these guys, these girls, these children, I call them at this point, as because that's what they behave like. Have
Right.
nothing better to do and no better way to spend our money, and that is our money because we work, and
Right.
by doing so, we contribute, we put in the system,
Mm-hmm.
and in theory, that is supposed to come back to us at a certain age once we're ready to retire. We put in our time, we're done,
Mm-hmm.
and they're taking advantage of that in a political witch hunt that has you're trying to delay the inevitable,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no point behind it, which goes back to the beginning of what I was saying. At whose expense is it? It's at our expense. It's not for our entertainment, though they might think it is. It's really not. It's not
Right.
amusing.
It's
It's
not.
pretty sad, but I digress.
Yeah. Yeah. So I took it, kind of the same way, but I had a feeling, I had a feeling when Judge McAfee said that he was going to dismiss three charges of Trump. At that moment, when I got that news, I said, "Uh-oh, this doesn't sound. It doesn't feel right." There's something about that didn't feel right. And then the next day the news came out. But I also think that McAfee could just like he seems like he's one of those guys that just want to be a nice guy. He just want to be a good guy. He want to be a lukewarm type of guy, you know? Like
Not
he's not
hot, not
going to
cold.
be yeah, not hot, not cold. He ain't gonna want to upset too much people. He's not gonna want to, you know,
You don't want to make too much noise. You don't want to
too
make
much.
too many
Yeah,
waves. You don't want to
And
ruffle too many feathers, even if they're the wrong ones or the right ones, however you want to look at it. But yeah,
right,
you want to make as minimal. You want to leave as little carbon footprint on this as possible that has your name on it anywhere.
exactly,
No
exactly.
different than what Biden did when he handed out checks with Trump's name on them.
Right, right, exactly. So I just felt like that's the type of guy he is. But I do feel like the Democratic Party put a little pressure
Of course,
on McAfee because it was news that was announced that it was a judge that was running for his seat, and I just think it was good timing for them to do that, to just let him know, like, hey, you know, you may lose your seat, if you don't play your cards right. So I think McAfee probably could have, was just probably playing his cards right for his future. He probably was just trying to secure his seat and don't ruffle too many people, keep getting a paycheck, you know what I mean? So
right? Yeah, he wanted to keep his job if it comes down to it. I mean, you might not
right,
have this job too long if you don't do this. I mean,
right. If you don't act accordingly.
you
But
know,
this article here by USA Today, it states that the lawyers from Donald Trump, they filed a emergency appeal, okay, on Monday, and following the judge's decision. And they contend the ruling doesn't go far enough by just forcing out Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade. So I think this is an excellent move. What do you think about this move that the Trump defense is doing?
I think it's super smart. I think
Yeah.
it was, you know, it's just like playing chess. You're gonna make moves, but you're gonna also at the same time predict or anticipate the move of your opponent or
Hmm.
your adversary or whoever it is that you're playing against. So you have to anticipate certain strategies, certain techniques that are going to be implemented. And I think it's very calculated on both sides, if you will, because it's genius. No matter how you look at it, you have to respect that part of it from both angles.
Right.
But what Trump does and what his legal team did in way of saving grace, if you will, and continuing to be relevant and show people the dishonesty of how things are being done and how it doesn't work in the favor of it. It's almost justice supposed to be blind, et cetera, et cetera. But in this case, we can see that's not true. It's being ignored and blinded. But
Right.
I think it's just being exposed, and he's doing a great job of doing it. Same with his legal team, in way of just being calculated, calibrated, and consistent in how they've approached this whole thing, while being right in the middle of running for the
President.
highest seat, yeah, for
Right.
the
That's
presidency.
crazy.
So I mean, it's anybody else be pulling their hair out, be losing their hair. This guy's not sweating it. He's
Right.
he's like, "What are we debating Biden? When are we gonna talk to this guy?" And they're saying
Right.
that they're not sure if they're gonna debate, and then, "What? What do you mean? Why wouldn't you debate him? What kind of nonsense is this?" I've never heard
Yeah.
anything of that before in my life, where a sitting president has not debated another, incoming potential president, a former president. There's
Right.
no incumbent president that I could think of, not even Roosevelt that I remember maybe during World War II. I don't know that there was going to be anything different about change in the presidency, but in this case, you know, it's weird. It's just strange, is the best way to put it.
Yeah. Very strange. Very strange. Because I don't think Biden is a good debater at all. So I wouldn't. I don't think that's not his forte. I don't think that's his strength. So I just don't see him being able to sit down with. It's kind of like, I don't see a chance at Biden winning, a debate. You know, I mean,
I,
just my opinion.
yeah, he's not the best orator. He really
Yeah,
isn't.
right.
And some of the things that he says, I'm still trying to decipher what a dog what a lion dog faced pony soldier is. I looked, I I know nothing of what this is.
Know
It's just
nothing about
insane.
that, man.
Word salad of nonsense. It's crazy.
Okay. So back to this Fannie Willis and Trump, this code. So the motion notes that the court found that Willis' actions created an appearance of impropriety and an odor of mendacity, okay, that lingers in this case, but it nonetheless refuses to dismiss the case or disqualifying her, according to the following. So, would you be shocked if they still keep her on the case after this?
If we look at the basic rule of law and just the
Right.
fundamental of law and just and apply perhaps a little bit of common sense, we would remove that legal team if we wanted to continue this case and start anew. If
Right.
that's if that's what the people want to do in regards to a case that stems from 4 years ago in regards to tampering, I think it's a nonsensical case to begin with. I
Right.
think it's a waste of taxpayer money, and I don't think that there's a reason to pursue it and keep going at it and bringing heavies in and spending more money. They investigated this guy with the best of the best of the best of the best for the entirety of his presidency, spending wasting money and found absolutely nothing.
Hmm.
This is just another extension of that. What do they do every time you appointed somebody on the Supreme Court? Oh no! Oh no! He's gonna.
Right.
This person's that, or this person's that. Has the Supreme Court been broken or manipulated in any way in favor of one party or one person versus another? Have any of those justices done anything that would indicate that they still favor something and show bias, or are they just doing their jobs?
Right.
And I think that's a difference in this case is number one, that you're going to have a hard time finding a judge that isn't on, I don't want to say that's on the take, but that isn't got some skin in the game. I just don't see how you're going to be able to separate that because they all do, every one of them.
Yeah.
So, and there again is you have enough proof for an indictment, meaning that you have enough proof to bring up charges. But exactly what is that proof? What is it? Let's take a look at it and see if there's really enough to continue this nonsense and distract us from what's important. But those are
Right.
my feelings. Those are
Yeah.
my feelings. Do I think it's going to happen? I think they're going to continue to keep going at it and going at it. Why? Because the Democrats are long established, and it's not. I don't want to beat up on Democrats, but they are a long established political party that has a lot of influence and long, deep, deep, deep pockets.
Yeah.
So
They got real deep pockets. Real deep pockets.
real deep, real deep. I mean, you're talking,
Super deep. Yeah.
yeah,
Talking a lot of money here.
lots.
Um now, right. So so you I still don't feel even if Fannie Willis stays on the case, I think her image, she took a big hit from her image, you know, perspective. Her image is now shady at best, you know. But my thing is if you pick 12 jurors, I don't think that you will be able to find 12 jurors that's going to convict Trump, okay, with this going to trial. I don't see 12 people sitting in a jury seat and saying, yes, Trump is guilty. You know, I just don't see that happening. I mean,
Oh,
if you get one, I would be surprised. It's just, this looks like they're trying to definitely, it's a political game because if he wasn't the favorite to be the president, then we would probably have something. But when you're when it looks like everybody likes you, it's like now it's more plain to the eye. Like, yeah, it's something not right. Somebody, somebody doesn't want this guy to be the president. That's what it's looking like to me. You know.
Yeah, dude, it looks the same to me, and I think through the eyes of a lot of people that are tuning in and listening to what we're saying, it probably looks like that to a lot of people because you, don't be deceived. You're not crazy.
Right.
It's not smoke and mirrors. It's not a coincidence if that's what you're thinking. Also, that he's got a case here, he's got a case in New York, he's got to put out money to bond this, he's got to bail that, he's got associates getting locked up
Right.
and threatened all over the place right now. Really, this is a classic political move that's been done for years and years and years by both parties, both main
Yeah.
parties, we'll call them.
Yeah.
Whether it be the in the 2016 election, what was it? The emails right before the
Oh, for
election.
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, when Comey decided, it's so insignificant at this point. I don't remember what it was, but it
Yeah.
was, Clinton never had a chance, but Trump was brilliant when he went against her. And then you go and look at 2020, you throw in, you throw COVID in or the C virus, whatever the I don't even know what to call it anymore. It's so
Right.
taboo to
It's like
call
it
it what
doesn't
it
even
is.
exist anymore. It's crazy
Yeah,
because
it's crazy. But yeah, during all that turmoil and all that nonsense, I've never been to a Trump rally, but I know people who have. I
okay.
actually know my mother-in-law, my father-in-law. They went to one, and this thing was like elbow to elbow, shoulder to shoulder, packed.
Wow. Right.
Big facilities. I'm not talking about, he's packing little, you know, you know,
Hole in the
small
walls,
little
right?
places of worship. No, he's packing arenas. Like
Right.
it's the Super Bowl when he's coming down. Biden
Wow.
might feel like a kindergarten classroom if he's lucky. So I
Yeah.
mean, you see with your own eyes, and clearly there's
Yeah.
this.
The eye doesn't lie.
No,
But one thing that I seen that was very strategic in what the Democratic side did, Trump had made a statement when he spoke to the people. He had a rally and he mentioned a bloodbath. I watched this speech. I don't know if you caught that. He mentioned a bloodbath about the cars, about China and the cars, and he talked about and the articles that they put out about Trump announces if he doesn't win, it's a bloodbath, and it's like I'm like, wow, they really trying to make him seem like he said something that had nothing to do with how the context that they issued that statement out. What do you think about that? That was that like, and not a lot of people caught that because there's not a lot of people that are really, majority of the people when they watch the news, they're not really, they don't know how to dissect the different parties and the news channels that covers different parties because it happens on both sides. But to see that blatantly is like, wow, like how manipulative to do that. What do you think about that?
okay, here we go. So it's something that isn't new, but it's something that is for obvious political gain and it benefits a
Hmm.
particular individual. So when it happens and the way it happens, and it's been happening forever, it's, like I said, it's not new. It's not exclusive to these two candidates, but what the television does, what the media does, their job, which they've lost track of, as opposed to reporting on current events. If you go to a country overseas, let's say you go to France and you watch the news in France, the
Right,
way that they give you news in France is more like a educational program, like you actually learn something.
right,
Whereas news here in the United States, primarily, you're looking at crime, you're looking at you know, just crazy stuff, ridiculous stuff. You're looking at how many people got shot and crime statistics and
Right.
weather, and just things that
Crazy.
empty calories that you know, not the most important things, but the purpose behind all these, you know, giant media conglomerates is ratings. So if they got a cut of something that's being said, they can take it, and it's perfectly legal. Misinformation is perfectly legal.
Right.
It's actually
Right. Against the law.
encouraged.
Oh
It's a
wow.
fact. As crazy as that sounds, no more insane than a corporation is designed to make money for its shareholders. It is a crime. It is against the law for a corporation not to make money for its shareholders, even at the expense of the consumer. Same thing goes true for the media. So, misinformation is something that isn't new and is designed to, well, either make somebody look real bad or make somebody look real good. And if something is taken out of context, like this was, and you don't know any better, then you're thinking this guy's some kind of lunatic animal.
Right.
So that's a blood man. What?
Right.
No, no,
Wow.
no. You got to watch the whole thing. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't, you just take that little sample, little piece of it. You're not getting everything. You got to get the whole thing. You don't
Yeah.
just want the meat in the middle. You want the bread. You want the condiments. You want the whole thing.
Yeah.
All the fixings.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Definitely.
But you know
Um.
what? And I'll take it a step further. Do you remember this past summer the big what was it? I want to say Ocean Gate, but I want to say Seagate with the submersible that went down and wanted to observe the Titanic, and it had the
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was. Yeah. They wanted to look at the Titanic, and it was people that was on that ship, right?
yeah, there were some very prominent individuals, including the person that I don't know, inventor is the right word, but the gentleman that had put it together, if you will,
Right.
along with some very prominent people and one of the children of the prominent people. And if I don't, you know, this story was in the news for at least a month, and for no less than I would say probably 3 weeks, they were still thinking that there's hope. Maybe 2 weeks, even 2 weeks. I'll say 2 weeks. So 2 weeks they're going around saying there's still hope. The story's still alive for a month until they start pulling wreckage up. But what if I told you that as soon as that happened and it imploded, the people on the uh, docking ship might not have known, but the government knew 100%. How do I know that? Because for the last 70 plus years, they've had hydrophones in the oceans, in bodies of water. Originally, they did it for listening purposes on submarine detection during the Cold War, Soviet submarines. So, hydrophones, basically a microphone, a one way listening device to be able to eavesdrop in the ocean if you want to look at it like that. So, these hydrophones have been established and they're all set up throughout the ocean. And aside from making sure there's no Soviet slash Russian subs anywhere, it also can do things like detect the sounds of a whale, things like that. So it has other uses that you can detect
That's
of
right.
earthquakes, things like that. It could also and did also detect the big implosion. It heard that sound. We know it heard that sound because the Navy announced it about, oh, I don't know, 2 weeks after it happened. Like, yeah, it's gone.
So basically, that ship blew up in the water.
Yes,
Wow, and killed everybody immediately.
immediately. And the media ran with this story, even though through the government they would know that those hydrophones are going to be able to detect that
Detected,
sound.
but it was just such a juicy story that you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
You
They
see what I'm
wanted to
saying now?
stretch it. Yeah, yeah,
Same thing.
gotcha. That's crazy.
Same deal.
That is crazy. Wow. Well, that you spoke of something exploding into the ocean. It's been something real big. I'm gonna let you watch this clip real quick. It's been something real big about a lot of people been talking about this is uh, the plastic. We're gaining so much plastic that we
The
could
size of
be,
Rhode Island now, is that right?
yeah, like we could be actually eating it. But I want to get your thoughts on this. I'm gonna play this really quick from Valuetainment. They had this come up, but I want you to wait. This is the no. This is the wrong one. This is the wrong one. Oh no, I'm gonna let you get. This is the Valuetainment came up with this one, and I'm gonna play a little clip of here. Here it is. Can you see the screen,
Hmm.
Max?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm gonna play this and let me know what you think about this. Check this out.
And every year, let me give you a couple more here. Humans ingest 5 grams of plastic every week. You know what that is? That's one credit card every week. Every week, you and I eat one credit card, which, by the way, in 10 years' time, we would have eaten 5 pounds of plastic and 44 pounds worth of plastic over the course of our lifetime. We eat a lot of plastic, folks. COVID-19 added another 26,000 tons of plastic pollution in the ocean, the whole mask and everything that we had going on. That's a whole different story that we're talking about. And by the way, the list is long. So a lot of companies want to be able to say, well, we do recycling, we do all this stuff. Even Starbucks, check this out. Not one of these plastic food service items, including the polypropylene cup lids that Starbucks touts as recyclable, has ever met the FTC Green Guide legal definition of recyclability. As if you're not already overloaded on all this data, I'll give you another one. Do you know how long it takes for plastic to decompose? Ready? Somewhere between 20 to 500 years. That's a long time. This is kind of complicated because there's an element of, where you're going to need the private and the public sector to solve the problem. And on the public side, the government, you and I are going to be paying for it. Private sector is a lot of these companies have to figure out a way to come up with better stories for you to say, I want to buy from this company because it's doing X, Y, Z. So let me kind of unpack how I'm viewing this. EU comes out and says by 2025, all beverage bottle made of PET plastic must contain at least 25% of recycled content.
Okay, so that was a little clip. 5 grams of plastic that we're eating a day. But now there's been facts that you can actually make. Check this out. All right.
You know the saying, I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. Well, you might be screaming if you eat this. This is plastic ice cream. Scientists from the UK have reportedly made the world's first food made from plastic waste. Sorry, vanilla, apparently. The ice cream is part of a UK art installation called Guilty Flavors. The artist says it's intended to make people think about new ways to deal with plastic pollution, as well as what we are prepared to eat in the future. Researchers from the University of Edinburgh figured out a way to harness bacteria as well as enzymes to behave as eco-friendly factories that break down plastic into digestible material. However,
So I didn't get into all of that. I had to charge up my computer here real quick. Going dead on me. But Max, I want to know from you, what do you think about this? How does this, knowing this information, right? Did you know about any of this first off? Did you know about any of this before you watched it?
I knew nothing about them wanting us to begin eating trash. That was completely, I never would even, I've got so many questions about that. And then
Right.
on the other one, I, I've got, when you test for water,
Yeah.
is plastic something that is on the list of contaminants?
No, actually, I got a machine that I test water with, and that's something that I cannot test with. It's gonna probably have to be a lab test, but a lot of homeowners, a lot of people are concerned about their intake in plastic. It's crazy, but I was having a talk with a lady today, and she said that, yeah, I hear that, because she has a health problem. I think she has some type of a digestion problem, and the
Okay.
doctor said that it was plastic into her. She had plastic in her bloodstream. So I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Yeah. So now my point in bringing this is, what are they going to do with all of this plastic? And for them to saying that they're going to make it as ingestible, would you eat? Would you eat, or could you think that we could be already eating? Because this stuff isn't really too much. They're not testing the foods. You know what I mean? To check if there's plastic in it or not.
I think the government is, whether it's the government, whether it's big business, corporations, whatever the case may be, I think they have the same type of small minded mentality as we do as individuals sometimes, that
Right.
it is better to ask for forgiveness than permission. So if you look at it through those kind of eyes, then there's absolutely no reason why I wouldn't believe that they are trying to feed us plastic any more than they're giving us fluoride in the water. It's not a falsehood. That's really telling, especially since you're a water professional. You work with water like all day long. You know
Right.
water really well, and your
Right.
machine doesn't have a way to tell how many parts per million. I mean, just think about that. If we're eating or digesting in, okay, all right, let me do this math real quick. You can help me on this one, Rob.
Right.
Does a human being, we are asked to, let's call it 80 ounces of water, roughly,
Yeah.
on average. Does
Yeah.
that sound about right?
Mm-hmm.
70, 80 ounces of water per day?
Yep.
Okay, so if we're going to go by 80 ounces of water, and that 80 ounces of water has 5 grams of plastic in it. 5 grams, right? That's what he said.
Yeah.
5 grams. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I know I can show you what 5 grams of water looks like. I can show you what 5 grams of a lot of things look like, but that's a lot. That is like a
Yeah.
lot. At that point, I wouldn't even know that you would need anything more than your eyes to be able to see that something's not right with the water. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. And this is why I am so against drinking out of plastic bottles, because drinking out of plastic bottles is, a lot of us don't understand that heat. It only has to be 71 degrees, 72 degrees for that plastic to break down in the water.
Right.
So that's not that hot at all. And if you're talking about on the back of an 18-wheeler truck, you know,
Think even smaller. Think
yeah,
that convenience store right down your street in the summertime has got all those cases of
water
bottled
sitting
water out there
outside,
sitting outside. So
that's toxic, right? And that's not the only thing we're eating plastic with. My point is, I believe that we could be eating foods because the plastic is so cheap, right? We're living in a money game, right? Because you can probably get that plastic and break it down so cheap because it's trash, it's garbage. You don't
yes.
have to pay for that, right?
Oh,
So you don't
if
have
you
to
go to
grow it.
somebody's plastic recycle bin and want to take something out of it, I promise you they're not going to stop you.
Right. So for you to make all of that stuff, like they're saying with ice cream, to make it edible, it's really cutting into their cost. They don't have to grow this stuff. You know how much vanilla they would have to grow to make ice cream,
And
and
why
the
would
cost of
you,
that?
and it's got to be well planned and very strategic and calculated, because you've got to find something that's going to be appealing. And I'm diabetic. I love ice cream.
Right. Oh man.
You know what I'm saying? Who doesn't like sweets, right?
Right. Right.
So it's not like they decided, oh, let's put it into asparagus. Yeah, we'll put it on all the cauliflower. Let's cover it all in broccoli. No, ice cream. Who eats ice
Right.
cream? Kids, old people, people after surgery. I mean, just you. Who doesn't eat
You
ice cream?
name it. Right.
So that's
Right,
pretty ingenious. If that's the case, I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but I'm not going to put it past the powers that be.
right. And not even the powers that be. I watched a video of it was a Chinese guy, and they were making uh, different types of broccoli. They were making all kind of stuff, and it was like made out of plastic. They were making all kind of things. Because I think it was cheap, and they were just. It's this machine called a 3D machine now
Mhm.
that you can just make stuff, and it could just make it. You can put the material in it, and I just feel that for people to make an extreme amount of money, and they know that they can make it in where it's ingestible, why would they care? They're trying to make a profit. You
Yeah.
know, why would they care about what we put in our bodies? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
So
not looking after the greater good.
right. So it's just scary. It's a scary time. With everybody talk about technology as being so great, but also this is the part where it could be very scary. Because
100%.
putting that plastic in our body, we don't know. They got a lot of lab grown meat now. It's just getting real spooky. From what we're consuming, because that's one thing that's not slowing down is the consumption of food. Okay, that is just picking up. So where are we getting all these grains like to make all this food? We got to verify where are we getting this stuff from? You know what I mean?
Right?
Where's this stuff coming from?
Especially when you see something like that, something that's artificial, but you would never know unless somebody told you. I would have
Right,
no idea. You could have told me, hey, we're gonna watch a video on making some ice cream. I'm like, cool. Like, man, I'm gonna go get some ice cream now. That looks good. Then you
right.
tell me it's plastic. I'm like, what? Like, no, 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 no. They can do that? No. But they cloned the sheep. They did that like 30 years ago, maybe
Right,
longer.
right. It's crazy times we living in right now. But I don't know what to say about that. It's definitely making me more weary about, certain things that I'm eating. But yeah, I don't know.
That's wild. The
It's
water
wild.
thing is even crazier. I
Yeah,
like,
the
what do we do with all
water.
this plastic? We got the water thing. We gonna go so far. All right, people only drink so much water. Ice cream. What? Yeah. Okay. What about it? We bake the plastic into a real fine powder, and then we mix it with sugar, and then we freeze it, flavor it, find some tofu type substitute to mix with it. People won't know. What does plastic taste like? How long is a piece of string? I have no idea.
Right.
I mean, I got plastic all around me, but I couldn't tell you what it tastes like because never had
Right.
the desire to eat any of it.
But the
No,
crazy thing is we are ingesting it. The average human is eating 5 grams right now, is eating 5 grams. I mean, not even eating. I'm saying ingesting to
ingest.
where 5 grams of plastic is going into your body every week. So, and plastic is made out of oil, gas.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Fossil fuels. Yes,
yeah.
yeah. It's not a natural. It's not natural at all. It's
At
not
all.
rubber. Don't get
Right.
confused, people. Rubber is a natural occurring
Yeah.
material.
Natural
There-
mineral. Yeah.
Yep. There's a real thing called rubber trees.
Mm-hmm.
Ancient civilizations had balls that they actually made of rubber that they used to play certain games. The Incas did it, the Mayas did it. There's
Mm-hmm.
proof of it to this day. So rubber's good. Natural rubber. Yay. Got it all over the place. Plastic, different story. Plastic
different
stuff, not so much.
different story, man. And I don't know, but that's wild to me. I don't know what I don't even know what do we do about it, because it's so many plastic bottles, in the ocean, and so much plastic that people are using. It's like I don't know. I don't know what to you know, I don't know what to tell anybody, but definitely, I am against drinking out of plastic bottles because I think the ones it's certain plastic that are thick enough that they're not gonna melt. It has to be it has to be a higher degrees. But I mean those plastic bottles that they have that's sitting out where if you just squeeze them, they start
Oh yeah.
crunching. You can just squeeze it.
Like, oh no.
Those
You think
are
you can fall
yeah,
apart in your hand.
you're right. Those things there is like it's pretty much like drinking plastic, man. You know, those microplastic pieces, man. It's
Got that taste.
yeah.
Oh, it's true.
So
You know, a lot of other countries, I don't know if we do it here. I don't believe that we do it here. If we do, I'm not aware of it. Not to say it doesn't happen, but you go over to certain countries in Europe, and once again, the way they deal with their waste, with their trash, is they convert it back into energy by burning it.
mm,
I
that's
believe
smart.
it's I want to say maybe Switzerland, maybe Sweden,
Mm.
multiple countries, but in Europe, they literally burn the trash and transform it back into energy, and then that's how they recycle. And as far as smoke, vapors, fumes, they've got all the filters contained. You're never going to contain 100% of it, but you're going to eliminate its carbon footprint and still be able to utilize the energy that's created through the heat of burning it. And in addition to that, you're getting rid of it at the same time.
Yeah, that's smart. That's smart. No, I don't know what we do in America with our waste. That's a great question because we get a lot of waste.
I
Okay.
mean, you're talking a lot of landfills.
Yeah. A lot of landfills, a lot of foods being eaten. It's a lot of waste coming out there. They did a study where they did a test on the waste that was coming into America, and they found out that a lot of that waste had COVID in it, had a lot of diseases right in our waste. So, and I'm familiar with wastewater management, where you can take wastewater and you could put the right filtration on that, and you could turn wastewater into purified water. You know what I
Drinkable,
mean? Yeah,
potable
drinkable.
water.
Yeah, you can get rid of a lot of that stuff, but who wants to drink that? But there's a lot of cities in the United States that uses wastewater and they turn that back in and it goes to your faucet, but it's not as purified as it should be, you know. They just do some things to it, but it's not as, the wastewater management as far as really purifying it to because it would be a lot more expensive. But there are cities that uses wastewater because there's not, and definitely out there on the west in the California, because water is not plentiful. But like here in New York and here on the East Coast, water is a lot more plentiful, you
Right.
know. But it's just crazy, man. It's crazy what's going on with the environment right now. It's definitely something to keep an eye on, you know.
Definitely. Especially, environment wise, like you were saying. Ah, it's we got some events coming up here in the next few weeks that ought to be pretty interesting, that ought to be making some news. I'm talking about the second eclipse
Mm.
and all the things that go along with that, and it's pretty interesting. I don't know if you looked into any of that.
I'm familiar with the eclipse, but I never is that's coming up in the next couple of weeks, you said?
April 8th.
Wow. So it's gonna be like a nice visual in the sky. We're gonna be able to see a planet or something.
The it's going to be another solar eclipse to where the one in 2017 is going to
Mm-hmm.
be almost a mirror image of that, except it's going backwards.
Opposite way. Gotcha.
Uh-huh. And what's weird about it is it's making a big X in the United States
Mm.
in a place called Little Egypt.
That's in the United States.
That is actually the southern part of Illinois, and it is a third of Illinois. It's called Little Egypt. In the exact line where it crossed in 2017 from where it's going to cross in 2024 on April 8th, the name of the street that it crosses in Little Egypt is named Salem. Salem is, I'm not trying to freak anybody out or anything like that. So
Right.
I don't want to freak anybody out, but Salem is the original word for Jerusalem. Salem, Jerusalem. So, and not only that, but this just happens to also be right where the new Madrid fault line is, which is the most dangerous, they say, of all the fault lines, if anything were to go wrong. And if anyone knows anything about Madrid being the capital of Spain and what
Right.
Spain and the Spanish did to the Israelites, the Jews, during what is called the Spanish Inquisition, they drove them out of Spain.
Right.
And now, here's the kicker. There's also a comet which is now visible with your eyes in the sky that comes every 71 and a half years. And this comet is going to intersect whilst the sun and moon cross on the 8th of April. And the name of this comet, of all the names you can give the comet, this comet is nicknamed the Devil's Comet.
Are you serious? That is
I'm not
crazy.
making any of this up. And if I told you something that's even crazier, not to freak anybody out on any kind of biblical prophecy, because that's not what I'm trying to do. But what if I told you that the Bible says that when there are 5 red heifers, red horns, red ears, all red, all pure, in Israel as sacrifices, then the temple shall be rebuilt. That's in the Bible. But what if I told you that there are actually 5 red heifers that were just sent from Texas to Israel, just as the Bible said?
Wow. That's not pretty much a freak out. That's like that's crazy. Yeah.
It's kind of
Like
wild.
what else
You know?
coming after that, right?
Yeah, that's deep.
Revelations. Yeah, man.
Maybe, like I said, some people, it always drives people away or to you when you talk about religion or you speak of God or the Creator, whatever it is that you want to acknowledge Him as. But I never understood that.
What, that it drives people away?
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
not, it's not exclusive to just anybody. I mean, I'll even talk about God in front of my own family, and they'll be like, "Man, shut up." I'm like,
Right.
"Whoa, oh, telling me to shut up? Breaking a commandment right there, little man. You obey your parents."
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I just
It's
find it
just
interesting, and I don't know that a lot of the things that we see or choose not to see are coincidence. It could all be summed up by a simple explanation.
yeah. Yeah.
I think some things are just deeper than what our small minds can handle and
Can handle, right.
comprehend. But I also think that the part that we can understand and comprehend and actually be able to see happen in front of our eyes is going to be pretty amazing stuff, assuming it isn't anything cataclysmic, which nobody can predict the future.
That's right. No one can predict the future. But they said in a good book that the future is already you can't predict it, but it's already in writing, So it's just waiting for it to happen. Kind of like you were saying about the red heifers, So
Yeah, I was looking because I don't even know how I got to. I was just reading and I got to that. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Surely there's not any red heifers in the holy city. And sure enough, one came from Houston and the other four came from, I believe, Fort Worth or Dallas.
right.
5 red heifers.
That's crazy.
When I say heifers, if anybody doesn't know, a heifer is a female cow.
Yeah. Yeah. Make sure of that. And I make sure of that. So man, that was amazing. That was amazing, man. That was amazing. Show we
Amazing
had.
and terrifying all at the same time,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. But definitely, man, this was a good conversation we had on some interesting topics. Pretty sure to cut this up, see if I can make a couple videos out of this thing here. But
I think it's interesting, and I think it's always great being on here with you, Rob, and having a
Yeah.
chance to speak with you. You're awesome, and
oh
I
man,
love sharing information and getting knowledge from you, and learning from you, and being able to be here, and hopefully other people tune in and express some interest in the things we have to say and think outside the box that doesn't really exist unless you want it to.
right. Definitely. And I'm pretty sure we're gonna get them checking in. We're gonna keep bringing up some stuff. I've been trying to look at what more people have been searching to get them reel them in with something, and kind of meet them where they at, and then tune into the extra stuff. But I'm writing down that eclipse April 8th, because that's I would definitely want to see that, man. I learned a lot about that. That's definitely in the little
April 8th, and then the Devil's Comet,
right
and the
little Egypt.
the red heifers, all real
Yeah.
stuff.
That's
Couldn't make
crazy.
it up.
Couldn't make it up. Yeah. And definitely we need to figure out something to do with this plastic, man. So I would suggest everybody check out that Valuetainment David. His last name is David, but his Value Entertainment. He did a real good job on explaining the plastic crisis that we're going through right now. And just something to know. I was with a lady today, and the doctor said that she had plastic in her bloodstream. So just made me look up stuff, and I'm like, wow, we're eating 5 grams a week. It's crazy.
Yeah, 5 grams is no. That's and it's
Right.
coming from multiple sources at that point. So we're ingesting it through not only water but through other means. We just don't know what they are.
Right.
I'm not gonna say it, but maybe ice cream is a catalyst, or maybe ice cream makes a good medium for the plastic. Maybe the
Right.
temperature of the ice cream being as cold as it is somehow it there again, I think if they
Right.
put as much thought into trying to feed us garbage, then put that same amount of energy into figuring out, I guess, in order to solve a problem, we have to identify the problem and isolate the problem. I don't even know if we've gotten to that point yet because we continue to use plastic.
Right.
And there are alternatives. We can use
We can use cardboard. We can use
cardboard. We can use clay.
Mm-hmm.
It's reusable. There's hemp. There's many alternatives.
Many alternatives, but I think that oil, because of just like we don't have to have cars that is ran out of gas, but it's a money maker from that oil industry. You know, that oil industry just made a lot of things toxic in the
Oh yeah,
world, man. You know,
just like we talked about fluoride, and everything else
yeah,
that goes with it. Aluminum, it just didn't come out of nowhere,
right.
and it's not to benefit
The greater
we may
good,
utilize aluminum, but we don't benefit like those that manufacture aluminum.
right, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly,
We're not
exactly.
aluminum salesmen here. I don't have a
Right,
roll of aluminum in my garage that I'm pushing off at, X amount of dollars. No, it's not happening
right,
that way.
right.
But when you talk about money on that scale and these kind of big whales, these big guys that got that kind of money, these corporations, and yeah, it could be overwhelming, David Goliath type scenario.
Yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely. So, hey, man, this was a great show, man. Uh, had a good one. We're gonna definitely got to do this again, Max. Um,
Anytime, anytime.
anytime, right? This was awesome. Put some more stuff in there, but definitely, man, we'll do this again. Hope everybody had a great show. Anything you want to close them out with, Max?
Thank you, Rob, again for having me on. It's an honor and a blessing to be here with you. I thank everybody over there for tuning in and taking time out of your evening to be with us and listen to what we had to say and the information we put out there. So thank you to everybody out there. And thank you.
Yeah. God bless us all. Praises to the Most High, man. We'll catch y'all in the next one. Have a good night.
Amen. Night, brother. I'll talk to you later,
Peace.
Rob.
Talk to you later, man.